Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Geeking Out podcast. I am the Athletic Geek, and gonna do a little something different this week. My guest this week is one of my co-hosts on the just however many marks we got that week wrestling recap show. We've had Easy. Um, we interviewed him kind of in the early days of the podcast. We had Charloco talk about his all in experience, but now we have another piece of the all in puzzle uh, who joins us every week. Erik Wade, welcome.
Yeah, what's up, you guys?
What's up? And, we, you hear Erik all the time uh, on the show, but, since he's one of the few of us that isn't, active on Twitter, on Facebook, to where he's really talking about a bunch of stuff. Figure a lot of the listeners don't really know about Erik as much, so this might be fun for as much fun for you guys as it is for us. So my standard question for everybody who comes on here, um, as part of the really any wrestling guest, is what got you interested in wrestling growing up?
What's up, you guys? Thanks for having me on. It's gonna be the lowest rated podcast. Everyone's like, "What the hell is Eric Wade?" Um, when I first started wrestling, I don't remember. Like, I just remember it being a thing. Like when I was a kid, maybe just because we had cable TV, or maybe because it was the MTV generation. Something happened where all of a sudden it was just on TV and I was watching it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I don't remember seeking it out like, oh, what's wrestling, or I heard about it from other things. I just remember one day watching it, and then I found another kid at school that liked it, and then another kid at school that liked it, and then another kid at school that liked it. And then suddenly it's the Attitude Era where everyone's into it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and so, but I remember when I watched it when I was a kid, what kind of supported it for me was like my dad, because my dad was a pipe fitter,
Right.
construction worker, pipe fitter, but he would come home every day and, like, typical dad of the 90s, like sit in his recliner chair with a beer and just, like, after dinner or whatever, just like watch TV, and that's it. You know what I mean? And then time to go to bed, kids, and then, whatever. But like, when we would watch Monday Night Raw, my dad would be like, "Oh, I want to watch football," or he wanted, your dad has control of the family TV room, so he
Right.
has control of what they're gonna watch that day. But whenever we get to watch Raw, when Stone Cold became a thing, and like he would come and kick someone's ass, drink a bunch of beer, and leave or whatever, and like celebrate and shit, my dad was like, "Oh yeah, this guy, I relate to this guy. He's my guy." Like, so we're gonna watch. Like, he made sure that we were gonna watch Stone Cold. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it was almost like catching a Jordan match. Oh, we're gonna watch the Bulls. We don't live in Chicago, but we're gonna watch
Right.
the Bulls because it's Michael Jordan season. So stuff like that, where it's like, I don't remember seeking it out ever, or how I even found out about it. It just became like a thing on my radar somehow with everything of that time era, like basketball with Jordan, comic books with Spawn, Todd McFarlane, the animated series of Batman and Spider-Man, like all the pop culture stuff that we grew up with today,
Right.
or love today, that all started around that same time, and WWF Attitude Era was like on top of it, like, so
How
I
old
just
were you
kind of
during?
fell in love with it.
How old were you during this time period?
Probably, I want to say around 11, 12, and then 13 for sure, because once I was like in middle school and stuff like that, because I remember the asshole who ruined it for me, and that was like in sixth grade, I think, when I switched schools to a different middle school, and me and all my friends who I grew up with who love wrestling, you know what I mean? Like, we were a bunch of marks. We thought it was real, and everything that we saw on WWF was legit,
Right.
gospel. And so I remember talking about it with a bunch of people at this new school, and, oh, dude, did you guys see Raw last night? Yeah, it was fucking awesome. And Kane and Undertaker. And then this one guy goes, "Yeah, but they're not really brothers, right? Like, fucking, like," and we're just like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's just a story. It's all bullshit. Like, the guy's real name is whatever, and the guy's real name was, and their character is playing a thing." And where it's like, oh yeah, yeah, we do that. You know what I mean? And like I just went home like, oh fuck, like you know what I mean?
It's all
But I
gone
remember,
now.
yeah, but it didn't ruin it for me. I still loved it, and especially
Right.
that's when like Nintendo 64 was out, so you're playing like the best wrestling games too, and just with everything
Yeah.
like skateboarding and everything, like it didn't ruin it for me, but it's just like learning magic wasn't real or Santa or whatever, where it's like, oh
Right.
fuck, man, like an aspect of it really was ruined. But that was around. I think I was like 13 or so, but that was like I was like at least a couple years deep into then. So like yeah,
Right.
but then but I didn't. I think so. Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, Mankind, all the original, the Attitude Era guys.
Right.
Um, I think I stopped watching wrestling like around the SmackDown. Once SmackDown became like a big thing in its first couple years, like I don't remember the Fist set at all, and like everything within that era.
Right.
For a bunch of years, but I got back into it later. But like I didn't. There's a long. I think the whole aggression era I completely missed. So like there's a big chunk of it I just don't like. I still have to go back and watch or whatever. But a lot of those guy like Batista, Cena, like the guys who came up during that era, I don't have attachment to really because I'm just like, well, who like they were after my kind
Right.
of.
So, okay, you mentioned that you kind of took a break from wrestling. What got you? When did you kind of start regularly watching wrestling again to the point to where you know? And we'll get to more detail on the trip later. That made you want to fly from Southern California to you know Northern Illinois for a show. What got you back interested in wrestling to eventually lead to,
Well,
to that point? Was it All In, or was there like something before All In that piqued your interest in pro wrestling again?
um, well, when I was a kid, my dad took us to a house show in Anaheim at the pond where WrestleMania was hosted like a couple years before, and I always remember the house show of like how different it was. Like, oh man, this is first of all, it was a house show, so there wasn't no pyro, there was no Titantron or whatever, but it was also a house show where everyone was into it, so it was packed, and so everyone was making noise and shit, and it was like a concert. It was like, dude, this is dope. Like, I like this. And I remember when we were walking up to the arena, a bunch of older, probably fucking 21-year-olds, whatever, they you know, pulled up to the arena too, and they were blasting the WWE soundtrack on CD that just came out with like DX and the theme songs and stuff. And they were playing DX or whatever, and I was just like, damn, I wish that was like, I wish I could do that one day, or I wish it was that cool where I could pull up to arena and go to a show and fucking sit front row maybe, and shit like that.
Right.
But from the house show, I just always remember that, like how cool it was to go. And then I didn't get back into wrestling until my sister started dating one of her old boyfriends, I guess you should say. But he pulled me back into it because it became like a barbecue scene. Oh, they're having a pay per view this weekend. You should come and barbecue. And I was like, yeah, cool. And the you know pay per views in the background, so it's like, all right, cool. And then we started going to shows. All right, so I think one of the shows we went to was like in San Diego, so we traveled a little bit of the way to go, and then we, as a family, we all went to New Orleans to the WrestleMania. And so after that,
No,
I
which
was like,
WrestleMania was this? Was this? Um.
well, I forget the number. 3 years ago, it was when Asuka first lost to Charlotte,
Okay. Okay. That one. That one. Okay. I didn't know if it was the Daniel
Nakamura,
Bryan. Didn't
AJ.
know if it was the Daniel
Yeah,
Bryan one or which one it was, but okay, sure, sure, sure.
and so we grew up in Southern California, and our closest destination fun resort is Vegas. And we went to Vegas a million times. And so I got bored of Vegas. And going to New Orleans for WrestleMania weekend was like going to wrestling fan summer camp. It was the most fun, outrageous shit I've ever been to. And it was just like, I was hooked. Like, traveling somewhere to go to see a show was like the new, like, oh dude, I'm hooked on this. Like, this is
Right.
not only do you're surrounded by 60,000, 80,000 people screaming, yelling, or whatever the fuck, but you're also getting to party with everyone. getting to explore a new town, getting to see shit, getting to go on a plane, getting to just do everything. I was a rock star for a minute. You know what I mean? Like going to a show and then coming home in a few days, whatever. Then you get to live the boring life again of going to work and shit.
Right.
You're just like, fuck, like
Yeah, because
yeah. But
if you not to cut you off, but like if you go back and listen to my live streams or watch my live streams after All In,
uh,
and how I went to All In and then Jedi, he's got a family, so he didn't get to make that trip. I'm still buzzing from this show, and Jedi's just kind of like, well, we're talking about Raw here. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
seriously,
Okay,
it's such
that's
a
cool.
high.
That's cool, but we're on SmackDown. AJ did this, so. But yeah, you're absolutely right there. So you get pulled
Yeah,
back in around. Oh, go ahead.
well, but so we went to New Orleans, and then WWE kind of just started getting really stale. I think we can go through the reasons of why or whatever, but just like with
We
Roman Reigns
we
winning all the time, or just
we do already enough as it is on the live stream. So we're gonna take a small break from that tonight.
right. But it's just like, but so there's just like, dang, if I'm not gonna like, if I'm not enjoying the wrestling, but I'm enjoying the traveling aspect and the party aspect and the community of everything and blah blah blah. All In was just a circulation of all that, where it was
Right.
like it almost they should have just put on a goddamn 2 a.m. commercial of like, are you sick and tired of your wrestling? Like, come on down
Well,
to All In because we're gonna. And it literally became the Woodstock of wrestling, where it was like,
right.
wait a minute,
Let,
Bullet
let's
Club became
let's kind of
well,
backtrack
yeah,
just somewhat right there. We're
yeah,
what made you aware? Because you mentioned that you were out of wrestling, and
yeah,
you mentioned that you like the travel, you like the kind of the barbecue and the party aspect of seeing the pay per views. You like the travel to WrestleMania. You like the atmosphere of wrestling.
yeah.
What made you aware of Bullet Club? What made you aware of this movement going on in independent wrestling at the time? Through Ring of Honor, New Japan, PWG, and just independent wrestling. This grassroots movement that culminated, or what we thought was the culmination of it, with this 10,000 people show, and then later on subsequently became its own wrestling promotion, primetime TV. But how were you made aware of this quote unquote, you know, alternative wrestling revolution that was going on?
I think because of the Bucks, because of Kenny, because of New Japan, obviously. Well, because yeah. So first of all, my friend Ray, me and
Hmm.
Raybo were friends, and we grew up with the same interests of like music and shit like that. He didn't really like wrestling until I got back into it again too, where I was like sending him clips and shit, and he was like, "Whoa!" Like once wrestling got a little bit more choreographed and like action got faster, he's like, "This is pretty dope." And then he started going back to watch Attitude Era, and he was like, "This is pretty dope." So he got hooked again, and then we started trying to one up each other of like, oh, well, have you heard about this local promotion, or have you heard about this local promotion, or have you heard about this clip or that clip? You know what I mean? Like, and especially with YouTube, like,
Hmm.
here's a New Japan clip, or here's a Ring of Honor clip, or here's a Gorilla Pro Wrestling clip, or here's a Bar Wrestling clip. Just kind of finding things like that, but then either somehow finding the BTE channel through New Japan, because at that time too, like I said, WWE is getting a little bit stale, where they're not giving the especially after the CM Punk kind of went away, then they're not giving you the kind of matches that the fans wanted or the product that they expected. Um, you go to watch a New Japan where Kenny Omega is blowing up. They just beat up AJ Styles, and then him and the Bucks become the elite, where they're the coolest fucking thing in wrestling. All of a sudden, the Bullet Club has a cool name at that point, and like it's almost like jump on the cool bandwagon. So all the things you're not getting from WWE, here's it over here at New Japan or whatever. And then all of a sudden they're starting to get rumors circulating of like, hey, these guys that you love so much that are carrying the weight of everything might put on their own show because of this tweet that was put out by Dave Meltzer. Was it Meltzer?
It was Meltzer. Well, it was the.
Yeah, he
If I'm wrong, somebody in the comments will correct me.
I,
Somebody asked Meltzer if they felt that Ring of Honor or New Japan, because of the popularity they were seeing with the Bullet Club, could sell out 10,000 seats. Because other than WWE, no other promotion had since WCW closed.
and he said no, not yet, or
Yeah, no,
whatever.
I don't
Like,
think so. And then like Cody chimed in, "I'll take that bet." And they,
yeah, and that was it. See, and that was it's all just like a serendipitous thing because Cody just got released from WWE. He just hit the indie scene, so we saw him a couple of times in Long Beach in local shows, and
right,
then him announcing like him rising through the rank. He did it the correct way, like getting released from WWE, going through the shit, basically finding his own indie character to become whatever, rising up, and then being who he is now. Um, it was cool to see that not only to see the evolution of that, but then these guys going, "Oh, we can do that," and not only can we do that, but like we'll make a bet or we'll give it a shot, or if we fail, or whatever. And I thought that was punk rock as shit because like me and Ray, we also came up at like I said, like we met in high school through music, or we would play backyard gigs. If we didn't have a venue to play, we just play someone's backyard or garage, or the show has to go on, or we don't care if there's two people there or a million people there. It would be nice if there was a million people there, but like the fact is that a couple people would enjoy it, but you would find that niche audience eventually.
right,
That it's just the most punk rock. Like, how can you not support that kind of a thing? So it's like we found out. Oh yeah, they're planning on doing a show, but they're looking for a venue, or they're planning on doing a show, but it might be in Chicago. And we're like, what's in Chicago? Like, I'd never been there, so I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, why would we go there or whatever or what, just figuring it out. But Ray was the one who follows social media and stuff like that, and he was like, oh no, they announced the show finally, and he was just joking like, oh, you want to get tickets? And it's like, yeah, I'm down. And he's like, well, how much money like would you be down to put in? I was like, like a couple $100. I bet like it's fine. All right, well, then he texts me, oh, we got tickets. I was just like, whoa, what? Like,
Oh
so I
well,
guess
that goes to my next question. So Ray took care of your tickets.
yeah, but he ended up getting the worst fucking. And I think I've sent the group text that were in the seats that we had a couple times. It should become just a meme at this point because they were right. So that he surprised me. Oh, we're in front row and they're gonna be dope and blah blah. And I was like, damn, it's gonna be sick. But we were right. We were in front row like 7 rows back, or I would say, but right against, like literally sitting against the walkway ramp.
Oh
And
God.
so the only thing you can see, if you were sitting down in your seat, the only thing you can see is the left turnbuckle. That was it. So like the entire time you'd either have to stand up and turn around to look at the big screen on the back, like the Titantron area, to see like the image being
Right.
projected to watch the action, or you just have to like enjoy yourself in a live environment or whatever. But the entire time we got there, I was just going like, "Hey, you think the security guards would get mad if I just like put my seat in the aisle or like against the railing over there? Like I'm on the way, but like I can see, or
Right.
And luckily, luckily, some guys next to me, so nice. They were like, "Oh, well, there's like," because they said it was sold out. You know what I mean? And they were like, "Oh, it's not sold out. There's other seats. We got other seats." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well, we bought these floor seats because the seats we had were in the third deck, and we wanted better seats, and they were available, so we got them down here." And I was like, "Well, do you still happen to have those third floor seats?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I managed to trade them for it, and immediately went up there. They were the third floor up, but right in the middle, so they were perfect. And so I just watched the entire show up there by myself, just with like the people around me, and just it was great. Like it was the best show ever.
So okay, you mentioned Ray took care of everything. So you don't have like a trying to get the tickets sort of story where it's like, oh my God, I hope I make it in kind of deal like a few of us did previously.
Well, not for this one. I had to do that for a couple other shows after that, but not for this. For this one, Ray took care of everything, but then it became, well, I have to, because he went 2 days before I did, so I had to figure out my own plane. I had to figure out well, I met them for the hotel, which we all met at,
Right.
but then it became a daily thing of, and that became our inside joke, like our quote of thanks Cody because he's fucking us out of more money. It became a thing of okay, so we bought the all in tickets. Now you got to get the all in hotel package of the all in hotel room, but then you got to pay a little bit extra to get the taxi from the uh, airport to the hotel, and then there's flips all out party announced that you got to get tickets for, and then there's wrestling signings that you got to pay for individually, and then each night, and then I think Pro Wrestling Tees announced a thing, but and it's just like, God damn it, thanks Cody. Like fucking, how much more money do you need? Like Jesus Christ. So like, um, I had to book all that shit or whatever, and then met Ray. So he went the day or 2 days before, I think 2 days before I went there. So I went for the Friday, the next show, the next day was Saturday, which was show day, and then we all came home on the Sunday.
Right.
But yeah, the later other shows we had to wait in the digital line and the double or nothing and all that good stuff.
Well,
But
okay, so you kind of mentioned your way to uh, getting to Chicago for All In. Now I know I ended up meeting you, meeting Dirty, meeting all those guys, all y'all
yeah, it was hilarious.
Friday night. Um, I told the story on my first the 4-part series about All In. Um, we're sitting outside. Dirty buys few bottles of wine from Hector, the bartender. Um,
Yeah.
and we're down there, and I'm drinking. I don't realize how much I'm pounding down this wine and these beers that I bought. And you know,
Yeah, this is a fuzzy. It's a
no, no,
little fuzzy for me too.
I don't. I remember the drinking because I remember this moment because I remember uh, my big thing, like even after getting the tickets, was with when because I went to Starcast. You didn't go to Starcast, correct?
We didn't. No, yeah, not in the morning. You decided to take a leave from the party because you got tickets. You
Well,
got the
no,
email.
I'm getting ready to tell the story. I got the
Oh
email that
yeah.
other than I barely got a Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi ticket that was supposed to be on Sunday, so I thought I could just party it up Friday night going into Saturday and sleep in. Yeah, I got my shit I gotta do on Saturday, da da da. But I can be drunk. I can get drunk. It's fine. I can get hammered, stay up till however much in the morning, and just go do my stuff. As long as I'm there by 10, 11 o'clock, I'm good.
Right.
And then I get the email on my phone about Golden Lovers got moved from Sunday to Saturday, and I remember just being like, I gotta go, you guys. I gotta go to bed now. It's time to go to bed.
Yep.
So the the party continued with y'all down there because I remember Nick was very grumpy with me that I was had the gall, the nerve to wanna wake up and go do the things I paid money for when who doesn't want to sleep on vacation?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he does. So
Well, you guys are from Illinois too, so it wasn't a time change for you or anything,
it
which I
wasn't a
didn't.
time
I didn't.
it wasn't a
I didn't
time
realize that
change, but
until later.
it's something
Yeah.
that's funny. I live in Illinois, but I live in Southern Illinois, so I've made the joke like at at that time that was the furthest I'd ever gone to a wrestling show was
Oh,
going up north
okay.
to Chicago because St. Louis is about hour and 45 minutes from me. It's about 3.5 hours to Nashville, Tennessee. Um, Indianapolis is about 4 hours. Chicago's about five and a half. So it was further for me to drive up north to Chicago for All In. That was a longer drive than when I went earlier that year to Ring of Honor in Nashville, Tennessee. It was a much shorter drive for me just to drive to Nashville, Tennessee than it is to go to Chicago, despite living in the same state.
Uh huh.
So, but I know Nick was tired, but I just remember just being like, whenever I wake up and I'm like, "Hey Nick, hey, like, are you gonna go? We gonna go? Do I need to get an Uber?" And he like just cuss me out like, you gotta do all this stupid shit. gotta meet these fucking stupid people. You gotta buy all these stupid fucking meet and greets. Because he's hungover and grouchy and grumpy. And he's like, trying to fucking sleep. And you gotta do all this. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to make the most of the experience. If this were WrestleMania, he would have been all about it. And,
Exactly. Yeah.
because he does. Like,
And going to
because Nick, I'll give Nick all this credit. He can, when he goes, with the exception of last year, like when he goes to WrestleMania, by God, he does WrestleMania. He does fan access. He met like he did the commentary
yeah.
at Fan Access. He met Dean Ambrose at the time at Fan Access. He met the New Day at Fan Access. Like he goes big or goes home, or as big as he can go. And this was just
Well,
kind
you
of my
got. Well, I
version of
mean,
Fan
yeah.
Access.
Right, and you weren't just meeting like any jabroni. You were meeting like some of the biggest
Mm-hmm.
names of that weekend or whatever. So I understood. But yeah, the way I understood or the way I remember that whole thing going down was like I got to the airport and I was super hungry because I got to town around like 7 o'clock in the afternoon or at night or whatever, and I was just like, I want Chicago pizza. That was my main fucking thing. I want Chicago
Now, where
pizza,
did you go?
and
Did you
that's
go Giordano's? Did you go Gino's East? Gino's East was by the hotel.
I think that's what we ended up getting because they were delivering that hotel all night long. That's what the guy was telling me. But
They had the
at
cornbread
at
crust.
this at this point in my life too, I just broke up with my girlfriend, like the last serious girlfriend I had, maybe 3 months prior because I was 3 months sober at this point. I remember where I like drank a little bit on the plane and to get like a good buzz, just like wear off some nerves, whatever. But like once I landed and got to the hotel, Ray was at the bar, so I was like, "Oh, what's up, you guys? I'll just sit down and have some water or soda, whatever." And telling him, "Let's get some food. Do you guys want to get some food? You want to go get some food? Let's get some food." Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're gonna get some food right now. But after this drink, and you know how that goes, where it's like you're waiting for people to drink, where it's like, goddamn, like this turned into a half hour or 40 minutes of like, hey, remember when I said let's get some food? So I was like, I'm just gonna order it. So I ordered my own pizza, which might have been from that place or whatever. But while I ordered it, Ray either went up to the room or decided to go out, or I don't know what the hell. But we split up just for like moments. Oh, I'll just do my thing and you guys do your thing or whatever. And then while I was waiting, I think I was either at the bar when I met Dirty and Jeremy for the first time because they were either getting in and we're all just waiting. And Hector, the bartender that you're
Right.
talking about, he wanted to close up like ASAP because he was like supposed to be off at 8, and this was like 9:30. So he was just like
I
not.
think it was 10. It was a little later than that because I remember just
But yeah, you know what I mean. Like
right. Yeah, he was
he
ready to
was
go
like
home, and I remember old Dirty. And if Dirty ever hears
nobody.
this, he knows that you know this is true, man. He's just like, Hector,
Yeah,
we just got here, and those of you that don't know Dirty, well, first of all, if you want to see who Dirty is, the St. Louis Battlehawks fan who jumped through the flaming table, that's Dirty. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing Dirty, Dirty is a character all his own. Hector,
he's a
man, we just
character.
got
Yeah.
here, man. Yeah, you wanted to.
Well, I don't even know these guys. I sit next to him. I have no. I'm sitting there by myself,
And I have the
and
connection with Dirty because he mentions he's from St. Louis, and that's like if I my closest major city is St. Louis. So if there's something going on in St. Louis, I'm there that's wrestling related that I want to see. Like I'm not going to go there for Raw, but
yeah. But but I think it was Dirty who ended up getting me the drink because Hector was like, "Yeah, I was supposed to get like when Hector got his schedule, nobody told him it was all in weekend that wrestling fans were going to be getting in from who knows what the fuck hours, you know
like
what I mean?
I had
And then
I met people from Russia,
all
from
over,
in one of
yeah,
the in the X Pac eat and greet I did. There was a guy from Russia. There was a guy from the UK in the Tully and JJ eat and greet that we did, or that I did rather. There's a guy there from Hong Kong, a guy there from Tokyo. Like,
damn.
yeah,
It literally was, like I said, like the Woodstock of wrestling, where like yeah. Well, I remember at one point we were sitting outside the table. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, whatever. But like you saying, people from everywhere. Not one person from the table was from the same area, and it was like
right.
pretty cool because we're all.
The closest was me, Nick, Jeremy, and Dirty.
I think so. Yeah, yeah, and
Just
we're just
because like we're here from Podunk, Southern Illinois, but like that's the closest major city we're to. So yeah, we know about what's going on in St. Louis because that's our closest major city.
But so we're at the bar and Dirty goes, "Hey, we're gonna order a bottle of wine for the whole for the bar, basically." And so Hector's like, "All right, whatever." And so I was like, "Yeah, I'll take a glass," and. And then I either called Ray. I don't know how this happened. Like it's all blurred to me still, but like I was at the bar by myself, and eventually I either told Ray like, "Dude, come to the bar because it's happening," or he either found it because he was coming back from getting food or whatever. And so we were all drinking wine, talking to each other about where we're from or whatever the fuck. I don't know if I've met you at the bar or not, but I remember
I met
meeting
you
you
at the bar,
outside.
yeah.
Okay, because as soon as so this guy finally like shut down, like, and I guess we were just allowed to go outside to the patio area to drink, and
Right. Yeah.
it was fine, like it was allowed. So we all go outside to drink and stuff, and I just remember having beers and just sharing whatever. And I remember meeting you for the first time because some girl was hitting on Dirty, and he was just like, "Why are you hitting on me for?" Or whatever. And she's like, "Because you have the goatee." And he's like, "Well, this guy has a full beard," and he points at you, and you're just like,
And I
"Yeah, like."
want no part of that bitch.
Well, yeah. I don't think
Fucking,
anyone
you
wants
want
to.
you want to know something? Nick went on like because I left and apparently like she confirmed this or
Yeah.
not. She like just kept talking, didn't she? And like Nick
Well, see,
Nick just
yeah.
like snapped because one, I woke him up and he was grumpy, and he's all like, "Yeah, you left. We had to listen to this stupid bitch talk about her essential oils all night." And I'm like,
Yeah, not to throw anyone under the bus or anything, but yeah, like she she was trying to hit on Dirty, and he was just like, well, he has a full beard, and so we were just all, oh yeah. And then I was like, oh, this guy looks like Dan O'Brien. We all started. We sat around a round table and we all just like chilled and drank and exchanged stories or
I dropped a beer bottle that I tried to pick up, but then like realized it was shattered. If I, in my intoxicated state, kept trying to clean up that beer bottle, I would severely cut myself. So I just, like I said, I'm not
oh, I
touching
think
it.
I do remember that. I think I do remember that.
Because I also remember
Yeah.
like coming like walking back out the next day and going, "There's my beer bottle," and then Sunday, there's that beer bottle again.
But I remember you going, "All right, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. I just got tickets to go see to get Kenny signing tomorrow morning. I got to go to bed." And so you just boned out, boom,
Yeah,
and then that was it.
and it was riding up that elevator. I realized I just drink a lot of alcohol.
Oh well, here's what happened because right when you left, either I don't know how long it took or whatever, but like I said, this is 3 months for me not drinking, and then all of a sudden I drank a lot in the patio. So I was the same way. I was like, you know what? I'll be right back. So I went to the room to throw up basically, and I didn't stop throwing up for 8 hours, dude.
Oh
Fucking,
God!
if you ask Ray, because Ray literally was like in the bed next to me. We had like a two-bed room, whatever. And every hour, pretty much on the dot or half hour on the dot, I fucking would get up and go throw up a little bit more or just whatever. And that was like one of the most hungover fucking I've ever been where I was just like, whoa, dude. Like, and Ray's just like, dude, like, what do you need? Should I call a hospital or something? I was like, no, I just need Sprite. So he would go down to the front lobby in the hotel and try to get a bottle of Sprite. They pretty much had everything but. He's just like, well, they got milk. You want milk? I'm like, fuck no. Like,
That's the
I just
worst
need
thing you could
Sprite.
get.
That's all I want is some Sprite. I would be fine. Like my body knows itself. If you drink a little bit of Sprite, I'll be fine. And they didn't have it, so I just had to deal with it. 8 hours of vomiting. Finally, we wake up in the morning, fucking who knows when? Probably like a 12 in the afternoon, whatever Chicago time, which for us is a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like I might as well have woken up at
Be
4 in the
10 o'clock
afternoon or
your
whatever
time
the
over there
fuck.
in
Like,
SCU.
yeah, and and then we had to go to Foot's All Out party, so I
Okay,
didn't drink that whole day.
so I gotta.
All out, all out show day or all in show day. I didn't drink at all. I was
Okay,
completely sober because I was hungover as fuck.
I gotta ask about what all did you do with the all out party because I
Well, we got there
remember.
way too fucking early, first of all.
Okay, because I know some of my other friends went to the all out party, but
Well, it depends on what you're gonna
they were
do.
splitting their time between Starcast and all out. For me, like the all out party didn't get announced until like after I'd already, even though the Golden Lovers sort of made it like, oh shit, there's going to be significantly more hustle and bustle on my Saturday. Like I still
Right.
decided like, oh, I'm going to made a day for myself Saturday before the show. I wanted to meet. And I did end up not being able to do this because the Golden Lovers, like Lex Luger, Eric Bischoff, Pentagon. I had like a full day kind of planned already around some of the stuff you could do at
Right.
Starcast. That, as you heard in the previous thing, a lot of things didn't happen because Starcast was, at least at that time, I don't know how it became, was ran absolutely fucking shitty. But that's another story for another day. But and I wish I would have, been able to plan it because I know like Okada was there. I know they had quite a few people at the all out party.
Yeah.
What all did you do? Did you meet anybody? Like, what was the all out party like when you spent the whole time there?
No, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it depends on what you were going to do there. Because if you had to stand in line to watch or to get a signing with Okada, you probably had to get there early. We got there like at least an hour before we should have because we ran into things to do quick. You know what I mean? Like, you get there, you show them that you have a ticket, whatever. You get inside, and then you get a free T-shirt, which was I still have now, but you get a free shirt that says like Flips All Out Party, whatever. You get to walk around the event. They have like that was before the venue opened. So if you wanted to get food or if you wanted to get booze or drink beer, or they had sign making stations where you can make your own sign, or just little like they had Flip DJing and they had like Pop a Buck there, so you can kind of like walk up and talk to them, buy merch and just shit like that. Where it's like kind of like a low Starcast, I would say, but like
Right.
if you didn't have a reason to go, rather than just getting a shirt and leaving, like there's no reason to stand there for 2 hours, 3 hours while we were waiting for the venue to open. And me all hung over and shit, I was just like, I'm just looking for a place to sit down. Like I don't like I don't want to be
So you
standing up
didn't.
and moving.
So you didn't meet Okada or anything like that.
No, we saw. I took a picture of him
Right.
from like yeah. We got to see him, and he's tall as fuck too. Like I was surprised. We got to see him. We got to see Papa Buck. Flip was there. Just people walking around and stuff like that. I think Fat Ass Masa, but it was
I,
just
I met Fat Ass Masa going to my seat at All Out. Just saw him walking by, and I'm like, "That's Fat Ass Masa. Hey, can I get a picture? Absolutely, Fat
yeah.
Ass
Once you
Masa."
see him, you know it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nobody else looks like him. But yeah, it was just like it just depended. Like a lot of people were in line to still meet and take a photo with Okada. So it just like I said, just depending on what you're looking to do, like that's what you were there for. But primarily, everyone was standing in line just to get in the Sears Center. There was a huge
Right.
fucking line. So we were just when we were standing in line, Dirty and Jeremy were there too. Like, and they're like, "Hey, you guys, come over here," or whatever. So we waited with them and just like talked to them a little bit, just shoot the shit, waiting to get in. But the Flip All In party, like, it wasn't like I said, like it was cool for a minute, but if you were there
Right.
for more than an hour, you're bored shitless. Like, unless you're drinking and doing
Or in
stuff
line
or
to meet
whatever,
Okada.
or in line or
Yeah.
doing whatever, buying stuff. But
All right. So obviously, we're not going to go in depth with every match. So you get into that building for All Out. With on a side note, we like our our phones were about to die, so we went back to our hotel room to charge our phones before All Out. Um, what was it like when you went in there and you actually, kind of got a
I was
look at
surprised.
like what the set looked like and what the building looked like. And I know there's people that we know that like go to WrestleMania and they're just like, huh, this is nothing special, because they just kind of went because they knew it was a wrestling show. They didn't follow BTE or follow the story. There's kind of like, okay, this is just whatever. But you who kind of, you said this is punk rock.
Yeah, and that's what I
Did
was
you
gonna
still feel
say.
punk rock, or did you feel like they sold out? Like, what were you thinking when you saw this
Nope,
set?
punk rock because it was clean. Everything was simple and clean. It wasn't overly done. Everything was like nice and straight lines, whatever. The All In logo itself is a play on like the Run DMC logo, but
Right.
then also a punk rock band, Adolescence, did that same logo. And then there was a punk rock band from 1977 in Los Angeles called The Germs who put out an album. And for their debut album, they were known as having the first like punk rock Los Angeles sound, not like New York, not like London, but Los Angeles. So that's why they're like popular or whatever. Their debut album, they went with doing something simple like a jazz cover where it's completely black but with a simple round blue circle. That's it. So when you see it, it's iconic. That's how I feel about the All In stadium logo, everything, where it's super simple with just black and red, white colors. That's it. But the entire thing felt right, where it wasn't going overboard. At this time, too, WWE completely took away their pyro for like years before this. I want
Right.
to say like at least like a year before this. So like if you went to a WWE show or even watched it on TV, you weren't getting pyro no more, which caused the fans to like take notice. So even when they started the show and they had pyro, even it was little, but it wasn't. They had it, so it was just like, damn, they really catered. It was kind of like buying like how the consoles are coming out now. It's like buying a system or something that looks nice on your stand. It was like a nice, neat. Everything was like, oh, dude, this is like a show catered for the audience type that they were going for. It wasn't for kids. Wasn't for the marks or whatever. It wasn't overly cartoony and colorful and whatever. It was just like right. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Um.
yeah.
So the
But
show.
going in the arena, the first thing I did was got food really quick and then sat in my seat. Like that's when I found out, oh, these seats aren't so great. And then when I got to switch to my other seats, everything was perfect. The size of the arena, I would say, like compared to where I'm from, like Staples Center or Honda Center, it's probably more on the scale of the Honda Center, where it's not too small, but it's not too big. It's not overwhelming, but it's just nice, like nice and comfortable. That's what this arena was like. But everything was like I said, just nice and clean. Like just it was great. I liked it. The set, everything was great. They had
Yeah.
like the Bullet Club at the time. Not it was still Bullet Club Elite, so Bullet
Right.
Club was all over the place. They had Bullet Club logos fucking everywhere. But other than
Back
that,
when the Bullet Club was still cool.
back when they were making it cool, because
Right.
yeah, and the Bucks, Kenny, Cody, Hangman, like those guys were literally rock stars at this event, and then not getting into the matches, whatever, getting the nice Jericho surprise, and
Right.
getting
We'll get into some matches. I just don't know if we have enough time to kind of do like I
yeah.
did
Well,
with
I mean,
Charloco and give through like thoughts on every particular match, like Dave and Brian do on their show.
yeah, because that could be a whole nother review
Absolutely.
episode itself, because it still stands up to this day. If you just go back and watch it out of context completely, like not even knowing any story build up or not even knowing who these wrestlers are, if you watch All In from beginning to end, now it still holds up as like its own show, and that's what I fucking love about it. And yeah, it's like punk rock because it looks great. It was put on appropriately by just like the right people doing it for the right reasons. The right fans went like I think I read a quote that, or I read a quote like I fucking read. I saw a YouTube video where someone said, um, the fans there willed it to success. Like even if the show would have had an offbeat, the fans weren't gonna let it fail. Like everyone there was cheering so much that they weren't gonna, like they willed it to
Hmm.
succeed or whatever. And that was truly the vibe of that whole weekend. New
Absolutely.
Orleans felt like a summer camp for wrestling fans because that was WWE. It was big. There was a lot of shit to do. It was New Orleans. But this felt like the Woodstock, where it was like, if you're a wrestling fan and if you know that this is the place to go, whatever. And then, like I said, like we all had different experiences because you went to the signings and stuff like that. We didn't go to the signings, but we went to the show and just whatever. But I feel like everyone who went that weekend, there wasn't one person who was like, that shit was sucked. Like you know.
Well, maybe a couple, but that's besides the point.
Maybe there are a couple. You're right, but we also started a new tradition because I threw up for 8 hours in the hotel room, and then when we were leaving the arena, Ray got all drunk and he threw up on the Sears Tower or the Sears Center arena, like on the side of the wall or whatever. And when we were leaving, I guess they were having What Culture doing interviews in the parking lot and shit. And I wish we would have been a part of that, but we were all trying to just get to our net because
Get
I guess
home.
like thunderstorms were coming in and shit. Like,
Well, I was just exhausted, and I was hungry because I remember mentioning this on the beginning of this whole thing with All In. That whole day, like other than Nick bringing me a Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit while I was in line to meet the Golden Lovers, I had like no protein all day.
hmm
Like I was just, I grabbed I needed something to eat really quick before the show, and so I got a bagel from the hotel that Starcast was in, and then you know, like every stadium, even though this is a considered by some to be like a more smaller, more modest stadium in Chicago, everything's still overpriced, and I'm like, do I really want to spend $12 on a hot dog? No. Hey, pretzels are $3. I'll take
yeah,
three of them.
I didn't buy beer, but I did buy concession stuff. I didn't think anything was too overpriced or whatever. I remember buying like a chicken dinner, whatever the hell it was, like a chicken strip combo, and
Right.
then like a couple of sodas. But I didn't leave the arena spending more than like
It,
$30. So I
it
thought that was like pretty.
it was enough that whenever because this was the beginning of the infamous group chat that has gone on for
Yeah, and
over
that's
two
the thing
years
too,
now.
because yeah, because so we all met at the hotel, and then we couldn't like so the next day. We met on a Friday. The day of the show afterwards, I think we drank again. Like we
Yeah,
all met because you.
we'll get to that story. We'll get to that story because we got stories there. But I just
Yeah,
remember, you're like, hey, we ordered pizza. Like you guys coming? We ordered pizza, and I'm like, I need a burger. I need protein of some kind.
yeah, we
Um,
were trying to get a potluck going. Like we all have food in our rooms. Let's all bring it to the outdoor
like
thing and drink and.
like, no, I need a classic triple from Wendy's because I have lived off of nothing but bread today, and I need meat, beef. No SW review reference there. So, because I know
But yeah,
we'll
we
get sidetracked sharing so many stories. I want to ask you about like the show itself. What did you think? You mentioned like willing it on. Like, what were the moments in the matches? For me, was Cody winning the title, which still, watching it back when I see the entrance, I still get that was when I realized how special of a night this was, and I still get goosebumps at that whole match.
I,
Um,
it's gonna be hard because every match, if you're gonna say like one word for every match, like the first battle royal was flip. You know what I mean?
Flip was great. You had SCU and the Briscoes to start everything off with.
Great opening match. Yeah.
Flip got booked. The whole story on BTE was Flip wasn't booked. Flip wasn't booked. No, Flip's not there. Flip's not coming. And then Flip got booked, and it was great.
And and then versus Black Machismo, but then how he played off of Brandy, like taking her up on her shoulders,
Right.
like she was like Miss Elizabeth, and the like I said, the fans going nuts of like I remember like
Lehman
Marty
Lanny was
versus
there.
Okada,
Yeah.
Kenny versus. This is the first time I ever heard of Pentagon, and I'll never forget it. Like the
Right.
moment he raises his hands, and the entire crowd goes Sato Meadow. I was like, what the fuck was that? Like what did they say?
Yeah.
Like asking people around me. Oh, he said Sato Meadow. Like well, like what? Like oh, zero fear or whatever. Oh, okay. Like all right, now I can say it with him. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to miss out the next time he fucking
Right.
does it. Like shit like that, where it's like every match, like Cody winning with against all this, every single match was like something to take away or something to remember. But that's what I was saying. Was like
I said, well,
you don't have to
win
know
the
story
worst,
built
win the
up.
worst match, and it's not like a bad match, but like when, to me, the most least memorable match was the main event when you have the Young Bucks, Kota Ibushi, Rey Mysterio, Rey Phoenix, and Bandito, and you walk away from that night going like, that's the thing that didn't stand out the most to me. You're like, holy shit, what else was on the card?
Right. Yeah, Rey Mysterio. That's the first time I heard of Rey Phoenix. That match had to go quickly, but we didn't. I didn't realize it until the next day was when I was in the reviews, and we were like, "Oh yeah, the show went long, so they had to wrap up the match fast." It didn't. I didn't realize that in the moment, but when you go back on it and watch it again, you're like, "Oh yeah, this match was only 5 minutes or whatever," you know,
Right.
like. But
The only thing I
yeah,
remember
just
from that was like seeing on the jumbotron, like as soon as the finish happened, like kind of the whole like the production company thing, like just flash. I'm like, wow, did something mess up? And then like everything ends, and then Matt Jackson gets on the mic and goes,
Yeah, but
we ended the match with like 5 seconds to spare.
well, for this, so I go down, I run from my third floor seats back down to the floor, but by this time the security is like not letting anyone. So I show my tickets like for the floor seat, but I'm not. So there's like three different entrances you can go: the left, the right, or the middle. We're sitting to the right of the floor seats, and I in the middle. And I was like, "Oh, okay, so I should be sitting right here, or whatever." And the security here goes, "Oh, so you don't know where you're sitting? Like, if you've been sitting here all night, you should know," kind of a thing, you know? Like, where these tickets are like, kind of just. And I was like, "What'd you really think? I fucking now bootleg these tickets or whatever, so I can get fucking like I don't know what she's thinking or whatever." But so I finally get back to my seat to go sit with Ray to catch their. They come out and do a final speech, and then I grabbed a bunch of Okada and Young Bucks that I sold on Mercari. Everything's for sale. Look me up, Erik Wade. But I sat down with Ray, then got to watch their whole speech of "We're gonna be together. We're not going anywhere," and that's that basically the seeds of AEW because they were at that point it was just BTE
Yeah,
saying that they
and
were
then
going to
the
be
big question
BTE
was
still,
like,
but
what's gonna happen? Are they gonna? Because this is a
well, that's
question.
when he said he grabbed the microphone. He's
Well,
like,
they
"Whenever
no
we
they
make a bet."
well he didn't say that they weren't going anywhere. They just said wherever we go, we're sticking together.
But then he said, "Whenever we make a bet, you should do double or nothing." And everyone's like,
Right, but I mean,
"Ooh,
true,
yeah."
but it's kind of, and this is gonna segue into my next question. Whenever you left that arena, like, what was your feeling? Charloco brought this up on the original. Like, did you walk out thinking, I witnessed something special, but I don't exactly know what it is? And,
No,
you're
I was like, when we left, I was like, that was exactly what I fucking expected. Like, that was
okay,
exactly what my hopes were for. That was exactly what, like, no, they could, if they would have gave me $100 as I left, that would have been like the cherry on top. You know what I
right.
mean?
Well,
But like,
I don't really
other,
mean it like so much that. It's just kind of like, did you walk out of there going, like, okay, so what is, like, more like, what does this mean? Like, are they going to, is it going to be like what eventually ended up happening? They're going to start their own promotion, or where were you thinking, okay,
oh no,
hey,
I
this is going to
figured.
be like, is this going to be like an all-star show for Impact, New Japan, and Ring of Honor every year now, or is this going to be the last hurrah before all of them go to WWE? Like,
Yeah,
that's
I
where
kind
my
of thought
head
it was
was
gonna
at.
be. I didn't think they were gonna go to WWE. I know that was like that's been like a meme for a while now. Like, oh, the Bucks going to WWE confirmed, or whatever. But it's like, um, I just thought it was going to be like a cool indie show from then on. Like, oh, every year they'll have this cool indie show. Of like, yeah, AEW, I mean, not AEW, sorry, Ring of Honor, New Japan, maybe even the guys from Bar because they had Joey Ryan come out, which was the return of Joey Ryan. That BTE skits had him killed off from Hangman, which was an amazing part of the whole show. We didn't go over, but like all this stuff where it's like, yeah, I just thought it was a cool indie thing, but like I said, too, like where it felt like a warp, like the band's Warp Tour. I don't know if you've been to that or heard of that,
I've heard of it. I've never been, but I've heard of it.
where it's just like a bunch of punk rock indie bands that you won't typically hear on TV or radio, or whatever, but you might hear on a commercial, or you might, you know what I mean, like,
Right,
or on the Tony Hawk soundtrack or whatever the hell. But it's like a traveling circus kind of a thing where they have like skateboarding and they have music and they have all this stuff. I figured it would be something like that, where it's like, oh, this is going to be a cool yearly indie event where all the cool indie wrestlers will come and put on a hell of a show. When they said double or nothing, I thought it was just going to be that same day the next year. I didn't think it was going to be like another show that year, as well as another All Out or whatever as it would come to be. You know what I mean? Like
right.
I thought it was going to be a one time a year thing, but nobody knew at that point that they were even going that direction of making AEW or becoming their own thing because at that point they were still really going strong with New Japan because the following pay per view we all went to or whatever in New York, we all thought the same guys were going to be
Yeah, we
there.
thought, and I feel like a lot of people had that sort of.
it was going to be like all in
expectation, all in
2.0 kind of a
all in
thing,
2.0 in Madison Square Garden, and then
all in and a half.
and then when the Elite wasn't there, they kind of left. At least Ring of Honor, New Japan brought it on their end to a point. It wasn't
But
perfect, but they kind of left Ring of Honor with their dick in their hands.
yeah, nobody. I don't think it became like a thing, and people started grasping to of like, oh, these guys might do their own company until that time. Like all in, it was still just like, oh, this is tight that indie wrestling fans have something cool to watch, or fuck you WWE kind of thing. Like we did it. Like kind of like not only did they pull off an amazing show that we all just took part of, like I kind of felt like it was history breaking kind of a thing where it was like, dude, this was special because at that point I've been to enough WWE shows where I felt the
Right.
difference of quality, difference of crowd, difference of I was just watching Roman Reigns getting booed the shit out of and having Beach Ball Mania begin in New Orleans, and now here I am in All In where not one person is looking at their phone, everyone's looking at the ring. You know what I mean? Like it's just a difference in the community or whatever, but it was just like, damn, this was something where it was like walking away from it when we were. I think we went to like the bowling alley trying to wait for our Uber or whatever, but like walking away from it, we were just like, damn, that was definitely worth. Like we were glad that we went. Like there was no way
I
that we would have
remember
been able to watch it.
I remember talking with Ray because now we can talk about all the hanging out on the patio again, and I remember Nick bringing a case of beer, and like I'm trying to stay up and hang out, but I'm exhausted just from one, just having to all the hustle and bustle of the day that I had, and then two,
Yeah,
just the emotion you felt in that arena, with everything going on. I remember, you know, Ray kind of talking about the Cody match. You just kind of, and then funny that Charloco mentioned it to you. You kind of, a lot of us just kind of had this, with the stranger next to us, like, hey, I don't know you, but you want to hug it out after that one because that's pretty cool, And you have that,
yeah. Literally, we didn't know anyone, and we walked away with all your guys' numbers and shit. Like,
right? Well, I
and
mean,
we
like
don't ever.
these were just people like people I was sitting next to during that match, just like, hey man, tears in our eyes, like that's pretty special, isn't it? Yeah. You want to hug
Yeah,
this one out? Yeah. After Cody wins the title and after that night, just more. Yeah.
yeah. The
People
two guys
people
I
I
ended
don't.
up sitting next to on the third floor when I got my new seats. The two guys worked at Cracker Barrel, so they had a field day when the Cracker Barrel made its
Nice.
way. Went during Hangman's match when they had the Cracker Barrel. They were just like, "Oh man, we work there." Fucking, it was just, and so we also all had a laugh together, and it was great. Like none of us had anything, or we all things in common, but from all walks of life, not knowing each other's names or nothing, everyone there had something to talk about and was like friendly and shit. It was just like great, like that's how it should be. How can you not have fun when you go to a weekend somewhere like that, where it's like, what I mean? You're going somewhere for the community minded thing, but everyone's having a great time, and then the show doesn't let you down at all. It's like
Right.
there was nothing but a win. I
So
can't think of one bad thing. Like there wasn't even like a firework hitch or like sound going off weird,
other
or
than
I can't.
other than the Okada match going too long and forcing the main event to kind of think on their feet and almost cut off before the show goes off the air. Other than that, nothing bad happened.
But
Um,
even that match was like no one was complaining because how good quality it was. Like
right.
that was literally one of the best
And to
matches
me,
I've ever seen.
I didn't think it was one of the best matches, but to me, like I didn't mind it being kind of what it was, and didn't mind it not having, you know, such an emotional story attached to it because like we'd already seen so much of that through the Cody match, through the Kenny match, through the Okada match, all of that happening. Like it was kind of nice, just like, hey, go do a bunch of flips and let's just it's literally
Yeah.
I compared it to on the original one. It's like when when in NASCAR when the driver wins, after he takes his cool down lap in his car, every other car goes to the pits, and he kind of goes out in the middle of the track and just does burnouts and donuts. This was the equivalent of like we already knew we won. The night was won with everything that had happened. Nothing messed up. This, that, and the other. That match was the burnout. That match
Yeah.
was fuck it. Let's just go out and have a bunch of fucking fun. You know, we've already proved this can happen. We've already proved that there can be good matches. We've already like hit the high. Fucking burn it down. That's it. And I don't mean Seth Rollins, but you know.
Right. No, yeah, I agree. Like I don't know, man. Just thinking about it too. Like I'm thinking about now that there was the four-way women match with Chelsea Green. That was the first time I ever saw her, and
Mm-hmm.
Tessa Blanchard. Just like I don't think there was one bad moment the entire show where I was like, oh, that was a fuck up, or man, what an amateur hour, or you know what I mean? Like it was literally like, damn, this was not only worth the money, but they over delivered. So it was like I
Absolutely.
was hooked. Where I was like, yeah, I'll be there for the next show. When they were, oh, we're gonna be stay together and whatever. I was like, I'll be there for the next one and the next one or whatever. But who would have thought it would have spun out to what it did now? But like literally after the first show, it was like, yeah, this company is gonna be something cool because they're giving the fans what they want as far as the alternative to WWE,
Right.
which is amazing, and they're pulling it off. So it's great.
Um, we're not gonna have enough time to talk about WrestleMania weekend. That's gonna be a whole nother. That's gonna be a whole nother episode.
Right?
But
Yeah.
the one thing, I did want to ask you, the theme that I didn't even really expect going into this interview has been, punk rock. So
Yeah.
all in happens. They attract uh, a multiple sports franchise owner to um, back a new promotion. This new promotion is a little bit more, kind of has to stay within some lanes a little more, negotiate contracts, kind of stick within the rules a little bit more. Um, you've been to Double or Nothing, you've been to shows since then. Do
Yeah.
you feel
And
that
WWE shows since then. I've been to
right,
WrestleMania after that too
right?
and
Well,
stuff.
well, do you feel that since do you feel that AEW having to just in order to compete, kind of having to go a little bit more of a mainstream direction? Do you feel that AEW has lost some of the punk rock edge from what the inception was with All Out or All In
No,
rather?
and it's kind of like a thing of so when I say punk rock, I don't mean like oh I'm gonna spike my hair and color it blue and wear a bunch of
Right, right.
studs
I
in my
get
face and
that.
I mean like doing it yourself, like how Cody says you've been told you weren't good enough, but we're gonna do it ourselves and say yeah we're not only good enough but we excel and maybe this is what people are into and then if they're into it it's gonna be a hit like and so do it yourself kind of attitude to me is like the best way to do shit but like especially with what they're doing now, it's not that they're getting more mainstream and selling out or getting more mainstream and getting lame or whatever. It's kind of just being on course of just being a big company where it's like you're on TV, you're getting to be a multi-million dollar company or whatever. So like this is shit that you not only have to do, but if you're gonna do it, like how Cody is now going on different TV shows to try to promote himself or like bring attention, mainstream media attention to their product, or whatever I'm all for it. I don't care. It's great, but just do it good. Do it well. Don't bring in celebrities for no reason or just like for example, whatever I don't even know right now. Like I remember when WWE would bring in weekly celebrities all the time because it was like the new TV show. Like when they bring in Snooki to go over on, and it's just like what the fuck, like shit like that. Where it's like if you're gonna do celebrity stuff, do it well. As far as what they've been doing lately or whatever, like I think it's fine. Shaq coming into the AEW might bring attention to the product, but Shaq's been trying to get in wrestling for a while, but WWE's been either stifling it for one reason or another. So if he's going to this company now to do it, that to me it's just like another thing where it's like, dude, that's pretty punk. Like if one company is going to tell you no, go do it here, and if the fans are like, oh, Shaq, whatever, well, they weren't saying that when he was going to wrestle Big Show a couple of years ago. Everyone was for it because Big Show got all buff and in shape, and he went on Conan O'Brien showing off his abs, and everyone was oohing and eyeing. But now it's lame when he comes to AEW. Shit like that, where it's like, I think someone said, or it was like a joke on the show or whatever, where they're like, it's not selling out. After a while, people are going to ask, why aren't you getting asked to sell out? Oh, it wasn't Popstar. It never stopped selling. Or was it? I don't know. Whatever. Andy Sandberg said that. He's saying, it's not selling out. Whatever. People after a while are going to be like, oh, you didn't get asked to get a sponsor, or you didn't get asked to like have fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so at a certain point, people are going to be like, oh, AEW doesn't have celebrities or whatever. Why? Because they're lame or you know what I mean? Like just shit like that. But like there, to me, I don't think they lost any points of like, this company is just resting on their laurels now, or they're just coasting or going on autopilot. They're still super ambiguous and doing shit that's bigger than themselves with like their toy line now that's selling out in 2 seconds and fucking all this shit where they're expanding in all the right revenues, but they're doing it right and as they can too. If COVID didn't happen this last year now almost,
Right.
who knows what the company would be now? You know, they either would have sank or they would have excelled. Like literally, they probably would have like fans would have got burned out and stopped going to their shows, or they would have still been packing the arenas and going strong. Who knows? But the fact that they're still being able to put out all the shit, selling out whatever they have, that the products they're putting out, coming up with new ideas and stuff. To me, that's pretty cool.
Right. So just to kind of just put a cap on this, because we got a lot of stuff we can do and talk about. We can definitely get more of you and several others on this here on the podcast. If
Yeah,
you had to pick
well, that's a good subject. All out weekend or all out in general is just a good subject.
all
People,
in, yeah,
oh yeah, I should. God, I'm so used to saying all out now because
right,
they've had
because that's what they had to do. Fucking Ring of Honor holding all in hostage. But anyway, if you
all in.
had to pick one a favorite match, you know, and that's not and by I mean favorite match, that's not discrediting any other matches on the card. Just because you said you like this one better does not mean that this other one was crap or boring or anything else. What would your
Shit,
favorite match of that evening be?
I'm trying to think because at this point I've seen Kenny wrestle a couple of times, so it wasn't like I was excited to see Kenny as I was more excited to be introduced to Pentagon. The final match was great too, but like we were saying, looking back on it and stuff, it wasn't the best, or like it ran out of time and stuff. The Hangman, who'd Hangman wrestle? I'm trying to remember who
Janela.
can wrestle. Oh, okay. I just remember him. Um, maybe the Cody and Aldis match because of how fucking like classic and epic it was. Um, I'm either going to say that match or the Battle Royal because of how well it set the tone for everything. Like how well it was booked, how well it was flowed, how well it was paced, how well the fans were into it, stuff like that. Like either between that match,
And
just because of
we
how
didn't even
well it's
mention this,
set.
but just we gotta mention it last time. How well Stephen Amell and Christopher Daniels were. I mean, I'm not saying that's be your favorite match, but just you got to give that some love if you're gonna talk about All In. Just like for a celebrity match, just how good it was.
That's true. Until you just said it now, I forgot about that one too. Because I figured Daniels was with the SCU match, but that was just Sky and Kazarian, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah, I didn't even that one I forgot about, but even that one was good too. And that was yeah, Christopher. I remember everybody when he went through the table and shit, and everyone was just like, "Oh shit, this guy just fucking ruined his acting
Right.
career. He's dead." Like,
And that's like I mentioned another one. Like I met Dave Meltzer the next on Sunday. And the first thing,
uh-huh.
everybody's want to ask, like, what'd you think about Kenny? What'd you think about Cody? What'd you think about Okada? And like, I'm here going, what'd you think about Stephen Amell?
And he had a match prior in WWE, right?
Yeah, and in Ring of
Yeah, yeah.
Honor, but like, this is his first singles match.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Because I remember, well, yeah, being surprised of how well the match was, whatever. But it was one of those things too, where it was like well, WWE did it, but then now here's with the shackles off, or like here's the cooler version of it, or whatever. Like everything just felt right. Like everything felt like appropriate to the theme of the whole weekend. But I don't know. Favorite match would probably just be the Battle Royal opener or the Cody. I'm kind of leaning more towards the Cody match, but in the end, it didn't really mean as much. You know what I mean? Like because they he immediately lost the belt back, and they weren't really gonna do an NWA ankle like that or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes,
yeah, pretty awesome.
sometimes it's about moments, you know. Um,
Yeah, that's true. It didn't have to be a long term thing. Just that moment in that particular yeah, just and if you knew the history of it, it was just an added bonus. But on top of it, it was
right,
just a great match, especially when Aldous did the elbow and Brandy was on top, and everyone's
right,
asshole ass. I was like, dang, this
and
is great. Like,
and and because of the fight camps, we got to see a diamond cutter in person.
oh, that's right, I forgot. DDP finally got to yeah.
Got to bust out a diamond cutter. I got to see a diamond cutter in person. It's pretty sweet.
I
Ah,
think yeah, me too. Definitely me too.
fucking awesome.
And that's going to be a thing to remember because DDP is not going to be throwing those out much longer.
Yeah, or maybe you will, because DDP yoga is a powerful thing. But yeah, that's we're gonna put an end on this particular chapter. But we got a lot
Yeah,
more stuff we can cover at another date. So thank you for doing this, and we'll be talking wrestling again very very shortly,
yeah,
obviously,
for sure. It never stops. That's the one thing. Wrestling never fucking stops.
and hopefully it never does. So appreciate everyone having to listen to this. Unfortunately, Erik does not have social media to look him up, but he does sell on Mercari, so check that out. But if he's trying to sell any of my stuff on Mercari, um, just use your best judgment that you may not get it. Anyway, that being said, if you enjoyed this, please give a like, share, subscribe for more content, not just from the world of wrestling, but from the world of comic books, anime, gaming, and all things geek culture. Follow me on my social media pages, facebook.com/athleticgeek89, Twitter at athletic_geek89, and Instagram athleticgeek89. And if you would like to help the channel out financially, hit me up on Patreon, patreon.com/athleticgeek89. Erik's not going away. Him and EZ, like you're seeing from that cover photo here, we'll be back. We'll be back for our normal live stream, and we'll be talking about more current wrestling news and wrestling happenings. So we'll see y'all then.
Yep.